The world of magic is a pretty intricate one. Countless spells, techniques, stances, and potions are capable of making any possible combination of actions or items that the conjurer can imagine. It can be a blessing, or it can be a point of contention which instills a feeling of fear, resentment, and indeed retaliation. In the world of the Irregular at Magic High School, magic has lost its mystique and become purely another technologically driven commodity, as common as a piece of cheese. As a result, the proliferation of magicians calls for the need of a typical high school complete with entitlement, sexual angst, and violence. Yay. Siblings Tatsuya and Miyuki Shiba are freshmen at first high school where there is a class divide of blooms and wees, which is not only talked about, but emblazoned on their uniforms for all to see at a glance who is elite and who is scum. Social segregation at its finest. Both Shiba siblings, or Sheeblings as I want to call them, are extremely talented at wielding magic, but Tatsuya is in course 2, or weed class, on account of his poor practical scores, although it's quite clear from the get-go that he fudged his results for a reason. He has expert skills in engineering though, which he uses to great effect, and manages to subvert the class divide and join the student council along with Miyuki. The premise of the Irregular at Magic High School is to present this effective caste system, and how it's going to be broken down by the Sheeblings and others. It's a noble cause, but one that is presented in a way which is dull, drawn out, and immensely irritating. I was bullied a lot during school on account of my weight, so I have a particular sensitivity to bullying or discrimination. When watching Tatsuya be ostracized on account of the fact that he doesn't have a flower on his blazer left me confused and angry. With one swift glance, he was labelled as a hick, and not worthy of being in a Bloom's field of vision or indeed breathing the same air. Call me ignorant, but when I first saw this happen, I was left confused as to why this was the case. Is this something that has been passed down by years of class establishment in the high school? Or is this something recent which has suddenly become an explosive socio-ethical issue? People are no longer people, and instead they are foliage or dirt. It's very black and white, and I can't stand it. It doesn't help that this notion has been beaten into our heads, and it's something that needs to be brought up again and again and again, because clearly we don't get it. There is one saving grace though. Student council member Mari, who is in charge of the school disciplinary board, has had enough of this discrimination and chooses to recruit Tatsuya into her team, and blow open convention by having a Course 2 member in her ranks. Thankfully, Tatsuya not only is capable of holding his own, but he repeatedly brings snobbish Course 1 students to task, and puts them in their place by breaking down the barrier. Mari makes it clear that the Blooms are in over their heads, and the notion that someone other than their own would be policing their antics is something that they fear. Tatsuya is more than able to realize her vision, and thankfully the rest of her team are like-minded, other than fellow first-year Morisaki, who is blatantly a naive and easily led bigot, and it's so satisfying to see Tatsuya act so calmly around others who lose their cool around him. Perhaps he's too calm, to the point of blandness. Tatsuya's coolness under pressure is commendable, but sometimes it comes off as coldness. There's no denying that he has a soul and can love other people. He is able to accrue a band of friends and companions early on, but it's hard to read him at times. He sort of has a Lelouch from Code Geass vibe about him. The rest of the show starts to unravel for me when you take his sister Miyuki into account. She loves her brother. I mean, she loves her brother. She is clearly unnerved by Tatsuya's friends Erika and Mizuki, both of which are attractive characters. So she feels the need to make her intentions felt, literally on her brother's back in just a robe, as if that's going to sway him. Thankfully, he doesn't bite back, although there is a very awkward declaration in episode 2, but he passes it off as a joke. I hope. Seeing her do this disappointed me severely in that I was reminded of that gem from last season, Recently My Sister Is Unusual, in that the sister or sister figure is the one making all the advances in a way which is not fitting for their relationship. Once again, I know it's more common in Japan than in the West, but still, it's odd to me. Other than the fight against discrimination and the incest nuances, there's really not much going for the Irregular at Magic High School. The animation quality is decent, with Madhouse taking the reins on that front. The finish looks somewhat polished, and the magic graphics are not overly stock. But when it comes to the characters though, and the basic writing, it all falls apart. The writing is based off a light novel by Tsutomu Sato, which is ongoing, and it feels like a light novel adaptation. There are times when the pacing is so slow and drawn out, you feel like the show is trying to pad things out to fill in screen time. For example, in episode 3, when Tatsuya beats a guy in battle, they spend 4 minutes talking about how he won when the actual action took 10 seconds? It should really be the other way around if anything. As for characters, they're very generic. You get brash tomboy, shy and busty glasses girl, hothead sidekick guy, and the sadistically calm overseer and the student council president. That's just 4 cases of bland character models. It's like a mini checklist. Go find them for yourself if you choose to watch this. The Irregular at Magic High School leaves me feeling conflicted. I commend it for wishing to change the status quo and having characters that are self-aware of that, but I can't forgive the incest-driven sexual tension, the uninspired characters, and slow pacing. It felt like a drag to watch, and that shouldn't be when it comes to stuff involving magic. How do you make magic dull? Blow stuff up! That's what engages people. Lastly, the whole discrimination angle? Not a fan. No, not a fan at all. Stop it. The Irregular at Magic High School is available to stream on Crunchyroll. My rating? Cancel. A chance at social revolution scuppered by poor narrative delivery and cheap design. If you like what you heard, please visit my Patreon campaign to help grow Anifile at patreon.com/MarsicoX, or follow me on Twitter at MarsicoX.